Hello, everyone. It looks like I'm live, but sometimes it gives you the countdown and then the swirling circle and the swirling circle. Oh, good, it's over. Okay. Hi, I'm Janine. Welcome. Today I wanted to hop in and just share some tips about how to balance the business and clinical aspects of therapy when you're a solo practitioner. This is something that has come up in the peer consultation groups program, and lots of really great tips were shared among the clinicians. And I thought that this is probably something that other people would benefit from learning more about as well. So first of all, let's talk about why this is important. Um, we spend so much time talking to our clients about self-care and taking care of themselves, but we don't always make sure that we're doing the same thing for ourselves. So the reason you want to make sure you're having good balance between the clinical aspects and the business aspects is so that you can manage the way your time is being managed, and that way you are getting your work done within the work day that you have set up for yourself, and not constantly having overflow because you're not accounting for all the things that need to be done. So what I would first recommend that you do is, and this is really for newer clinicians, but if you have been in your practice a little bit longer and finding some of these things aren't working for you, then this would be a good starting point for you as well. Go ahead and figure out what is your ideal schedule. Some people like to do evenings, some people like to do weekends. I'm in a place where I see clients 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday, and that's been a good fit for me. I did at one time see people in the evenings, and what I will tell you is those people who had evening appointments, when I no longer was doing evenings, we worked it out and found a way for them to either still see me during their lunch break or at a different time that maybe they hadn't considered, or I could refer them out to someone else who was offering those hours. I was experiencing some burnout at that time and decided that working in the evenings and then trying to be present for my family wasn't working for me. So pick your ideal schedule and stay firm with that. When I first started my solo private practice, I pretty much would schedule anyone anytime they wanted. And that's really tempting to do when you're trying to fill your caseload because you just want to make sure you're getting people in the door. However, you're going to end up with a schedule that's not working well for you at all, and you're going to be miserable. So I think a better way to manage that is to focus more on your marketing and the resources you have, and connecting with local referral sources, and then holding out for the clients that are going to be able to work with you in the schedule that is best for you, because they're going to get the best from you if you're working at a schedule that works with you and your life and your family. Part of looking at that schedule should include discovering or figuring out how many back-to-back sessions you can do and still feel like you're doing a good job, still feel like you are present and engaged. So some people will, and this also varies by if you do more the 9034, 90834, 90837, if your sessions are closer to 45 minutes or closer to an hour. At one time, I was doing 45-minute sessions back to back with no break, 12 of them. 12. And that was not a good idea. I don't recommend that. I don't feel like I was at my best at the end of the day. I felt like I still did good work, but I came home spent. There was absolutely nothing left for anybody, and that was not a good balance for me at all. So now I have determined, I do hour sessions, and I've determined that 3 to 4 back to back is really the most that I can do. So since I work 4 days a week, I like to have 7 a day. And so I either do 4 in the morning with a lunch break and 3 in the afternoon, or 3 in the morning with a lunch break and 4 in the afternoon. And sometimes if I am going through a week and I'm feeling extra fatigue, I might look forward to the next week and think, gosh, maybe I really can cut down to 6 if I have openings, I have places that instead of trying to get a client in there, I'm going to add maybe an extra break in the afternoon or something like that, so that I'm taking care of myself and giving the clients that I'm seeing the very best of me. So figuring that out and then figuring how you want to put your breaks in. If you are somebody who wants to see 6 clients a day, that might work better for you if you do 2 clients, a lunch break, 2 more clients, an afternoon break, and then 2 final clients at the end of the day. And that's still reasonable within a normal work day that you can add that in. So think about that. The stamina is really important because not only will you burn out over time, but like I said earlier, you're going to get that daily burnout where you leave work with nothing left for yourself or your family or for the things that you want to do and enjoy. And that's not good for anyone in the long run. You do want to make sure that you are scheduling time for your admin tasks. So those business parts of your practice, a lot of people just sort of presume that it's going to fit in there somehow. And what happens with a lot of people, and it did for me, was that I got really behind on keeping track of my finances and my expenses and receipts. And the paperwork that's required, if there's times that maybe an insurance company needs some extra paperwork or if a client needs a letter or something like that, I didn't really have that time built in at all. And so over time, those are the things that I ended up having to do outside of work hours. So now what I do is I have times each day where I have set aside a certain amount of time that I can do admin tasks. I don't do a huge amount of time during Monday through Thursday because those are my client facing days, but Fridays are my admin day. I used to just think of it as a day off, but then I realized like it's not really a day off. I'm not seeing clients, but I am working my business, and it is important to have that time. And so putting in some time to do that. Some people also will create a spreadsheet or what are the admin tasks that need to be done, how frequently they should be done. What are the things that you're doing on a daily basis? Some people bill daily. What are the things you're doing on a weekly basis? Some people will then just go back and review that all the notes have been done and all the bills have been submitted, the claims have been submitted. And then on a monthly basis, is that a time where you go through and you download to your spreadsheet all of your expenses and your income, and you've categorized all that and made sure that you have corresponding receipts? So come tax time, you're going to easily be able to pull that together and not have, a backlog of many, many months that you're trying to catch up on. There are lots of resources out there that can be helpful with that. Wave app is an online banking app that's really good. I admit when I used Wave app for a while, but it was free, and sometimes we get that state of mind like it must not be as good if it's free. So I was paying for QuickBooks for a while. And then I realized I actually preferred Wave app, so I went back to that. I have it set up so that it downloads everything from my bank account. It categorizes those things. At the end of the month, I just look through everything to make sure everything looks fine and grab the receipts that go along with those things. And so that's been a really good time saver for me because it's all of that is automated. The other thing that people worry a lot about when they're going into private practice is can they make enough money to support themselves? How do they manage the finances? There's some really great therapist groups out there that deal with some of these things, and a lot of them have free training. So I would encourage you to seek those out. But as a starting point, one of the things that you want to know is what is the average you're getting paid per session. If you're taking insurance, then you want to look at an average week, the amount that you bring in from those insurance clients, the total amount divided by the number of clients seen, and that will give you your average session rate. If you are private pay, then you're probably going to have more consistency and you're not going to have to worry so much about averages. So you need to figure out what is the income that you need to bring in. So how many sessions per week do you need to have to be able to bring in that amount of income? And then set up a payment system for yourself. So ideally, you're bringing in more than your family needs or you need for your own personal bills. And by the way, if I didn't say this sooner, having a business checking account is really important. It keeps everything separate. I like having my personal and business accounts at the same bank because I can transfer money easily online, but having it separate is really important. So I just lost my train of thought. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Okay. Okay. So ideally, you're bringing in more than what the income is you need for your family. So you can either have a business savings account or keep track in your business checking account the money that's in there. So if you decide to pay yourself weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, what is that average amount that you need to transfer? And the leftover money you need to have for expenses, utilities, EHR programs, taxes. That's a big one. Don't forget to put aside money for taxes because you will regret that later when you get a big whopping bill. So all of those things need to be accounted for. I mean, you're trying to figure out what you need to pay yourself, then you also need to add in all of those extras, all of the expenses and things, and then figure out what that payment should be. It's a little tricky at the beginning because you're working your way up to that, but that's okay because ideally, once you've done your marketing and you've gone out there and you've connected with some good referral sources and you're getting your caseload a little more full, then it'll be easier to manage some of these things. You also want to take into account when you're looking at that total number that you need for the year. You want to take into account having some time off. Do you take 1 week off in the summer, maybe 1 week off in the winter? Are you a person that takes 2 2-week vacations? Um, do you have a time of year where you have a lower caseload? Um, for many, many years, I always had a lower caseload in the summer. The last couple of years, that has not been the case, and it's certainly not the case this summer. But I used to take that into account. So when I'm looking at instead of multiplying things by 52 weeks a year, then maybe I'm going to multiply the monthly amount or the weekly amount by 48 weeks in a year so that I can have 2 weeks of vacation and then 2 weeks of extra for downtime. And so that money is getting put aside so that I have that buffer for myself if I'm having a slow month or I'm taking time off. It's important that you plan for that so that you can take time off and really enjoy it and not feel guilty because, not only are you not getting paid, but you're not bringing in money. And as a solo practitioner, that can feel a little difficult at first. But if you plan ahead and make sure that you have money set aside for those times, then you can actually take the time off and enjoy it. There's other ways that you can manage your admin time a little bit easier. There are lots of scheduling tools. Some of the EHRs will allow clients to schedule themselves. They can go in and they can schedule, they can cancel, they can reschedule. Some people allow new clients to do that. Some people don't. I really love having my clients, the ones that want to manage the schedule for themselves. Each week, I look at the end of each week, I look ahead to the next week and I look to see, like, do I need to put some breaks in for myself? Is there a day that I know coming up that I'm going to be out of the office and I mark that out right away? So my clients know that if they go to my calendar and there is a time slot showing it's available, it's going to be available because I manage that really well. And that's something that you can very easily do on a regular basis with just looking ahead a week or two and looking at your personal life. And then also deciding, like, gosh, this has been a really rough week and I have my afternoon appointment open on Thursday. Maybe I'd rather just not have that appointment. So I don't want to leave it available. So I set that as a hold, is what I call it in my schedule. And that way no one takes that spot. And I know that I truly can have the time off. So those are just some of the things that you might want to consider. None of us got any of this business training when we were in graduate school. So a lot of us went through our clinical hours where we're working for someone else. And then those of us who started solo practice, our solo practitioners, we don't have the background to have all of that, most of us. The other thing I would encourage you to do is if you find that you really need some help, is reach out to your local small business association. A lot of times the local small business associations will have mentors that they can assign to you, and those are typically volunteers. And it's somebody that can help kind of get you off to the right start with managing your finances and all of the business aspects that you need to be aware of. You're a pro with the clinical stuff. You know exactly what you're doing there. You need to rein in the amount of time you're doing the clinical stuff so you don't burn out. But then you can also reach out and get other resources to help you with that business piece. And I do promise you it does get easier over time. Okay, so thank you, those of you that have joined me. I cannot see who's here. I just thoroughly just like the Facebook Live interface these days. I can't see who's here. I can't see questions. So if you have a question or a comment, go ahead and drop it in, and I will be coming back to check it and answer those questions. All right. Take care. Bye bye.